about decorators. So decorators is something simple. It's just a function that you pass in a function. You pass in a function, and then it has to return a function. It has to return a function. So you get a function, pass in a function, then it has to return a new function with that updated function. Let's just give an example here. What if we define this as our outer function? So that's our outer function, and then it takes in a function. Let's say a function called original. So after that, we define our inner function. Then our inner function just returns an execution of the original function. Now remember, we have to return a function. If we don't return a function, it won't work. So we return that function. So when we run our outer function, we're supposed to put in the original function. So let's define an original function. Let's define it as display, and then let's say that this display function, what it does, it prints out, let's print out hello all of you. So that's what this display function does. So we're going to pass this display function here without executing it. So when we run, it has run, but you can see that it has not printed out this hello. Why? It's because this function was put inside this original. Then this original is executed inside inner function, but inner function, it was returned but not executed. So if let's say this is called our new display. So it's going to return this inner function into our new display. So if we now execute our new display, it should print out hello all of you. But this is just a simple way to make a decorator. The hardest way to make a decorator. So the simple way is just like this. The simple way to make a decorator is to just call on top of here, you just put at outer function. So you have meaning that this display function is going to be put into outer function as original, and the same thing will happen. So this time we just need to call our display function. So when you call our display function, to still doing the same thing, hello all of you. So this is how it works. Now what if our display function took in things like, let me say, name and then age, and then it took in name and age, and then it returned your name is, let's say, your name is, then the name, yes, and you are .years old, and you are, let's call that the string of the age, string of age old. So that's what happens. This display function takes in this stuff. So if we run this function, we're going to get into an error. Now the error is simple. It's just like the reason of the error. What's happening here? This display function is being passed into the outer function. So it's here original. Now original here inside the inner, it's inside the inner function, and it's being executed. But as it's being executed, it's supposed to have name and age, because original is just equal to display. So it's supposed to have name and age, but it does not have the name and age. And then the inner function, it's returned the inner function. So here we executed the inner function, meaning that it's going to execute this. That's where we're getting the error from. So the simple thing we can do is, on the inner function, let's accept in arguments and key and keyword arguments. So these keyword arguments, you can name it anything you want, but this is just a conventional one. So what happens? Remember, this display function here, which we are executing here right now, it's actually the inner function. So on the inner function here, if we are to put our name as Henry, and then we put 18. Put there Henry, and then we put 18. So these two here will be entered as arguments, and these arguments will enter here. And we shall say args 1. So these two arguments here will be put into a list called args. So in the list args, position 0 is Henry, then position 1 is 18. So let's put args 1. So when you run this function, we're not supposed to get any error. The error is here. Keyword args supposed to be with double asterisk. So when we build, it has stopped it. So your name is name, and you're 18 years old. Let's see the problem here. Why is saying your name is name? Yeah, it's supposed to be here. Supposed to call it a variable name, not your name is name. So your name is Henry, and you are 18 years old. Let's format this a bit to make it look somehow presentable and readable. So your name is Henry, and you're 18 years old. So this is how a decorator works. Simply, that's how a decorator works.